A brief message from your friendly neighborhood editing Jordan. We tend to try to keep things pretty PG-13 around here, but this is an improv podcast. So, who knows what we're going to say. Sometimes we throw in some swearing, some sexual content, and some violence. So, as a general warning, viewer discretion is advised. Also to be noted, the opinions stated about a certain tabletop role-playing game are just that, our opinions. We love the game and we like talking about it. So, any criticisms are really just all in good fun. That being said, wizards, please hire us. All right, with that out of the way, let's get on with the show.
That's
Using up
him.
too much power.
No, that's him getting spring locked, actually.
I wish.
What?
Tumblr, do your thing.
Don't. What,
Don't
you want
never say
Tumblr
that.
to
Do not
put you in
do
a
that.
spring lock suit?
But hot.
I really don't think you understand what you're asking for.
Do you think William Afton's hot?
You don't?
Do you want to have sex with William Afton?
No. Why'd you ruin a good thing?
Because I didn't want you to have it.
That's true. That's fair. Hey everybody, welcome to the Nat One Podcast, aka Nope, because nope, you're not gonna want to hear what we're about to have to say. I'm Pertuset.
I'm Levi.
And I'm Jordan.
If you want more pictures like this, Google William Afton R34.
Do not.
I don't know what you're talking about. I would have sex with Matthew Lillard.
That's a completely different question.
Is it?
I
think it's the same question.
He is the on-screen version of William Afton now.
And he did a really good job.
He did do a really good job.
He did say the line, Bart. He said, I always come back.
I always come back. I'm so...
Spoilers for the FNAF movie. If you
We're getting into it.
That's what we're talking about if you haven't
This is the FNAF
guessed.
episode. Giant spoilers for the FNAF movie.
How's that song go? I've already got the idea what the title of this episode should be. What's the sad song?
You gotta give me more context.
Taryn knows it. What's the sad song,
What?
Taryn?
There are many sad songs.
Taryn's
do you
a human
mean?
Shazam. Taryn, what's that song?
I
Yeah,
don't
true.
know.
I don't know what I was thinking.
True.
Leaving my child behind.
Real? No, it's the one I think World is either just in the chorus or it's in the title. Everyone wants to sing it at open mic night because they think they're hot stuff.
Wonderwall?
No, it's World in the title.
Mad World?
Yeah, Mad World.
Oh.
Okay.
That's the name of the episode. It's a FNAF world.
We'll workshop it. What?
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Find it kind of
Oh
funny.
my
Exactly.
Kind of sad.
That's where you were going with that?
Yes.
Wow.
Some people call me Jack Armstrong the way I be reaching.
Taryn's joining us for this episode.
Yay!
Say hi to Taryn, everyone.
Is that
He's
even
always
necessary
here.
anymore? He's like he's the mascot. He's
Well,
just
yeah, but
he's
been forcing himself to be silent for the last like 3 episodes, and I don't know why.
He's
I don't
always
know,
here.
I'm
He
just
just doesn't
here.
talk.
I've been doing other stuff during it. So
Oh,
the
you've been listening
mascot.
to your roommate talk about warrior cats.
Yeah, true.
Uh-huh.
This is true. Well, we've been listening to that too.
You've been listening
though,
to your
so-
roommate talk about warrior cats.
I get so many of those books. Like that is not for your roommate's age. I just gotta tell you.
I think Taryn's aware. I think
This is not like a Harry Potter situation. It is not fun for all ages. It is an exclusive age range it's fun for.
Uh-huh.
But speaking of things being exclusively fun for certain ages, the
Uh-huh.
FNAF movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Good transition.
Good transition. In fact, because I have one statistic to share that I'm looking at right now.
Do tell.
94% of the audience for the FNAF movie this weekend were under the age of 35.
That does not surprise me in the slightest.
Uh-huh.
I thought that under the age of was going to be a lot lower than 35
Me
when
too,
I
you
did
when you
too.
started.
Honestly, I feel like if you go to 30, it's probably like 90% of the
Yeah.
population. You're just lowering the stat a
the
little.
main population is like gonna be millennials and Gen Z.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, I've been talking about it at the place that I work all the time, and nobody else is with it. A lot of them are too old, but even the ones that are my age are like, I don't care for it. And I'm like, you're not real. You're not a real person. You
See,
don't
mine is-
exist.
This is
Mine is the
our Michael
opposite.
Jackson. Like this is our thing that permeates
It's our cultural
entire
touchstone.
culture.
It's our cultural
Yes.
touchstone.
Everyone who
what a
is Gen
fucking
Z and
reference.
millennials should know about it. If you don't, you're out of the loop.
That's
Exactly.
my workplace. It's been the hot thing. Everybody's really excited for it and has been talking about it.
There you go.
See?
There you
You,
go.
you are not a real person if you are our age and you don't care about this.
Ah,
Which brings me to my second statistic to share with you all, and then we can actually discuss stuff. The FNAF movie on its opening weekend or its opening day earned more money than the Super Mario movie.
That's wild.
Honestly, I don't doubt it. That makes sense.
officially better video game movie than the Mario movie.
It is the highest earning video game movie right now on opening day.
That's pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah, it is. Good
Oh.
job. Good job.
Yeah, good
creator.
job, Scott.
Oh my god, what does this mean that you are actually a fan of a Blumhouse movie?
Yep.
When do you think that when did the first FNAF game come out? 2014?
2014.
2014.
Do you think when Scott Cawthon sat down
Cawthon.
sat down to make this little like not very long drawn out game, a short little indie game, do you think he could have ever envisioned that he would make a movie that was
No.
going to be like
100%
blowing
not.
everyone out of the water?
He was
No,
working
he's-
at a Dollar
he's-
General at the time that he made that game as a
Yeah,
cashier.
before that, the only games that he had made were Christian children's games.
Yeah. That's wild. It's just wild where like how
His
things
journey.
can change.
Yeah.
9 years later, almost 10, but 9 years
Mhm.
later.
I've been watching all the FNAF YouTubers the ones that got to take a tour of the set, as well as Matt Pat's like debrief of him being.
I want to
yeah,
watch
so
his
it was a
video.
good
I
video.
wanted
I
to wait
watched
until
it.
after I got out of the movie.
Yeah, I watched
Yeah.
it last night.
I watched it as well. So very cool. Good on you, Scott. I'm glad you were a big part of my childhood and several others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're glad to have been part of the journey and hope it keeps going. Especially
Yeah.
since you had a thing in the credits at the beginning that was called Scott Cawthon Productions.
Yep.
I doubt this will
Mhm.
be your only credit in that company.
And like I said when we were at the movies, Matthew Lillard's contract is for multiple FNAF movies
I
and
think
not
he's
just
signed for
one.
3,
So
yeah.
So they're molded. And I mean, like we just said, it's been immensely profitable. So there's no way we're not at least getting a second one at this point.
We'll see.
I
Yes.
personally hope we get as many as there are games. No, I'm kidding.
No. It's a lot of games in a short amount of time, but honestly, there's not that many. It's just there was a bunch for a little bit, but now they've been spaced out a bit more.
Yeah.
Because like the first 5 came quick. The first 5 were like 3 years apart in
Yeah.
total, but since then it's slowed down a lot. Unless you count
True.
like AR, the little phone game.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I can't remember what the actual name of it is. Everyone just calls it FNAF AR. And Security Breach and Ruin, which are by Steelwool Studios now anymore.
Ruin has come to our family.
That was last week.
I know.
No one watched it. No one liked that.
We don't have anyone in the nostalgia crowd coming back to watch it.
No, the only person I can hope for is Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan's probably watching it. He was really excited when you
He
said you were
was.
going to stream Darkest Dungeon again.
Oh, I only did it for him too.
You would do it for Dylan.
I lost like
Mhm.
5 characters, but anyway, I'm rusty.
Well, overall, then, if we want to give it like an out of 10, how did everyone feel about the movie then?
FNAF.
Let's start with that. FNAF out of 10?
Mm.
Okay.
Like a 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go 6.5.
Okay. I gave it an 8 when we were walking out of the theater, and I think I still stick with 8.
I think it sits outside of a scale of measurability. Hence, FNAF out of 10.
FNAF
Well,
out
see,
of
here's
10.
the thing. I have to already, because I've been laughing at the Rotten Tomatoes scores coming in with the fan rating,
Oh
which
my
is always the
God.
thing. The fan rating is so much higher than the critic rating, and I think
It's
with this
such
kind
a
of stuff,
disparity,
I'm
though.
gonna go on a rant for a second. With
Mm.
these kinds of movies when they come out, this is why I don't trust a lot of movie critics, because they are judging it solely based off of technical aspects, not necessarily like the source material or the cultural impact or just enjoyment of a film. That's the thing that is not in the actual judging criteria of movies when they're judged by these critics on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, is not like, how fun was it to sit in the theater and watch?
Mm-hmm.
Very.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, first off, I think anybody that consumes media and or movies with an ounce of like integrity and sense of criticism attached knows not to trust movie critics. They
Yeah.
have not been good for as long
Yeah.
as game critics have not been good
Mhm.
or reliable.
Oh,
But
imagine.
everyone else is an armchair critic. But honestly, we're deserved. We are an educated populace now. We can make that decision.
No.
Typically, I would argue and be like, well, I want them to be detached from the connection to this, but not for the FNAF movie.
Well, and you can't really, and this is coming from a film student perspective, you can't really be detached from the cultural impact of the media that you're judging, because inherently that's the point of film. So, like, you really can't ignore what kind of culture is happening around the movie in order to judge. There's no objective judging of movies. If I were going to objectively judge the FNAF movie based solely on like its technical aspects, it'd be like a 4 out of 10. Like it was not a great movie, but with the enjoyment of it being in the theaters and for what it is, it's great.
It's FNAF.
It's FNAF.
Mm-hmm.
It was very FNAF, and you could tell that it was. Well, I mean, he's been at it for so long now, but I was going to say you could tell that it was Scott's writing, but that makes sense because he wrote on it.
Mm-hmm.
He was not only the producer, but he was in the writing room with 2 other people.
Oh, but yeah, no, it was funny when we left the theater, we got in the car and we started talking about it, and then I think it was like 10 minutes out of the theater. We were at a light getting ready to get on the highway, and I said,
Oh my
"Oh
God.
no, are we gonna start?" No, I'm not talking about that, Taryn.
I want to
said-
talk about that later, but
Or I said, "Are we gonna start having theories about the movies now, just like we had theories
Oh,
about the
absolutely.
games?" And the answer is yes, because we
Yes.
all agreed that when we got out of there that obviously this is probably gonna be a new like movie timeline where things are similar but not quite the same to the games, which opens up a whole new cadaver. Yeah, because Dead by Chun, if I may.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just
Like
considering the fact
that.
that you had a security breach character in this movie, it's not going to be the same timeline and exact lore as the games.
Him, a FNAF VR character.
Oh,
FNAF.
no.
Okay, I don't know the origin. I'm assuming you're talking about Vanessa because I don't know her
Mhm.
exact origin. I just know the meme audio from TikTok.
I just know, well, I know her because she was originally introduced in FNAF VR, but I prefer her from her introduction in Security Breach where people said white woman jump scare.
Uh,
It was
They
though.
make
It was
that a jump scare.
It wa-
I don't
yeah,
know
it
why
was.
they made that a jump scare. We can get on Steel Wool Studios another time. I got something to say about them, but
Still, she's not from the original like core 5 games is my point. So it's going to be a different. I think they're definitely taking some liberties with the timeline, which they should. In my opinion, for these kinds of adaptations, you shouldn't just be pulling straight from like your source material, because people don't want to see just it's walking the very fine line. People don't want to see exact replications on the screen. They want the spirit to stay intact while also having new content to consume. And some people do just want an exact copy on the screen. That's also valid. But for the most part, a lot of what does really well is if you do a in good faith adaptation.
mhm.
which is why the FNAF movie is perfect, because the FNAF timeline between the games and the books is already so convoluted. You can say pretty much any general story that takes place at a pizzeria with the Fazbear name on it, and it'll fit.
Yep.
Exactly.
Going into theory corner, and I'm not a pro theorist, but I did consume several theories like this whole month because I've been so excited. The takeaway I took with it is this obviously took place between FNAF 1 and FNAF 3 in the timeline, or technically FNAF 1 and FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. Because FNAF Pizzeria Simulator is supposed to take place a few years before FNAF 3, which is 2015 to 2023. That's debated in the community. This had a cell phone, but it was an old flip phone, so it had to have been in the early 2000s or mid 2000s. And FNAF 1 is supposed to take place in roughly 1993 is the belief. So it happened after that. That was definitely the FNAF 1 animatronics and probably the FNAF 1 location.
Yeah.
But unlike FNAF 1 the game, it was in complete disrepair. It was shut down and everything. So again, had to be after that. So it fits there. Where it deviates is Michael Schmidt is working as a guard for the first time after it was shut down. Unlike in the games where he's working while it's active. He has his sister, Abby.
Baby.
Yeah.
I kind of laughed whenever they said her name for the first time. I was like, oh, it's okay.
Well, that's the interesting thing. There's a lot to cook on this one. We were debating it as we were driving back.
Yeah.
We're not really debating, just discussing. But so
intense debate. We were all in disagreement with each other.
Different schools of FNAF thought.
Yeah.
I'm a FNAF solipsist. No,
I'm a Matthew Pattist.
The wee.
Dream.
I cannot believe that.
Gordon, did your whole theater explode when the Book of Dream Theory was there?
No, because actually, so I had an interesting viewing experience, and part of this was intentional. I did not see it in the Dolby IMAX. I kind of want to go back and see it again in the Dolby IMAX theater. That one was more crowded. I saw it in the dine-in because the seats were cheaper, and so my showing was pretty empty.
Fair enough.
Oh man, we were dying when the very first shot of the film was a book that said Dream Theory, and not only was it that, but it was integral to the plot.
Yeah, it was partially because when we were going there, Pertuset had made a little quip about Dream Theory on the drive to the theater, making fun of it, like on the way there. So then that being the first thing that popped up, we were all like,
yeah, we were in our seats, like looking at each other, like. There was a lot of that. At the very beginning, I leaned over to Levi and pointed at something, I think Dream Theory, and then I leaned over again and said, I'm going to do this a lot. Sorry.
Yeah. And we both did do it a lot. I think my biggest one was when, spoilers. I mean, at this point,
spoilers, it goes for the whole episode.
Spoilers for the rest
warning.
of the entire episode. I'm not saying it again. It's your fault if you keep watching after this. When Vanessa was like, his name is, and then there was a really long pause, and I went, say his name. William Afton.
Oh, no. Maybe he's gonna, and of course, only Mr. Coffin would do such a thing as, first off, put Dream Theory right there at the beginning. He did that on purpose.
He did.
Also, as we saw, well, if you did watch the Matthew Patrick debrief, he did mention that Scott went up to him personally and said, I chose your character name to be Ness because of the Sands theory.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is really funny.
Darren told me that I saw the name tag and was like, that can't be a coincidence.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, it seems like maybe they're gonna do like a Marvelish thing where there's some Nexus things, like William Afton. His name's still William Afton.
Oh god, what's his name? Kang the Conqueror.
Kang the Killer.
What if in the next Avengers movie William Afton shows up?
Yeah, what if, buddy? That's
what I'm asking.
That's just the plot of Fortnite.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like Mike Schmidt in the game is a cover name for Michael Afton, his son, which at first at the beginning of the film, whenever when Steve Raglan, I think that was his name, right?
It was
Yes.
something. It's not a. But we all know. Everyone knew he was William Afton before we even went to watch the movie. That was the big thing. Everyone was like, "Oh my gosh,
it was not a twist."
William Afton.
But he was reading through the thing and he was like, Mr. Michaels, and then he was like, I got a job for you.
He got really freaked out by.
I was wondering
his name
about that.
being Schmidt.
I thought it was gonna be like maybe he knew the family or something. Which
There's the two theories.
Yeah. If he's actually his kid, then he does know the family. But I figured it was. I thought that they were gonna bring in the dead and or missing parents, like more heavily, other than the dream.
That's what we were confused about. We were talking about it, and we were like, okay, so is it like FNAF the games where he is just William Afton's kid, or are they doing a new thing where it's like William Afton is just somehow related to the Schmidt family, and that's how he knows Mike Schmidt? Because if he is William Afton's kid, who the heck were his parents?
Well,
how are they related?
Parents were
to
in
him?
the dream.
In the dream, were
Parents
they
were
his
there,
actual
has two
parents?
siblings.
Taryn had the theory of maybe he was adopted. Maybe the dad was I brought up perhaps the dad was a stepdad and the mom was the same mom between William Afton and like Mike and but yeah, no, it could go anywhere. We don't know.
I think it's probably going to follow the book logic, and my influence for that is the Freddy that lured Abby back to the establishment, because the books, as well as the games, have now included the existence of those FNAFO discs that the animatronics have that can emit a frequency that literally makes you hallucinate things full on to any extent, visual, sound, audio, all of it. We saw Freddy appear in Abby's home and presumably kill her aunt.
Which, you know what's funny about that? To briefly interject, I saw someone talking about that where they were like, if that was a hallucination disc, that means that Abby killed her aunt.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Which
she had it coming.
Well, I mean, maybe, probably, but
I thought she was a bitch.
She was trying to incriminate her completely innocent nephew to get child not support. Well, custody. I guess kind of. Yeah, custody. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. So she was a bad person. There's that much.
Deserves death? I don't know, but she was probably a little bad. Yeah.
I will say, I did not expect her to just get killed. Honestly, I didn't expect her to be in the movie after like the first half. I figured that was just going to be motivation for him working there, but then she showed up again and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I have thoughts about that. But yes, as we saw Freddy appear and then take her there with a taxi that he called. And then she gets there and he's just gone? No. I think one of the animatronics slipped one of those discs on her. Probably the cupcake.
I love the cupcake.
I think that then caused her to hallucinate. Once they made that little bargain, the spirits activated the disc, which then caused her to kill her aunt, call a taxi, get to the place. Which would then also explain that William Afton gave a hallucinogen disc to Michael when he was a kid, which made him forget that he's his dad. That William is his dad. But that's my theory.
Well, but then the dream theory thing unwrapped, which I mean, the dream theory thing was kind of shoddy at best anyway. I feel like with the logic of it unlocks your hidden memories, wouldn't he then remember the unaltered version of the hallucination?
Well, see, still, even in his dream, he was still having trouble remembering things. So it wasn't that he necessarily had completely unlocked his chakras and could remember everything now. It was that he was starting to put the pieces together. So that's why I said earlier we think FNAF 3 and 4 should be movie 2, because that's like spooky wooky stuff going on in Michael's head, and we think that would be a good direction to take it.
Also, I don't have all the answers. I was just looking for precedent in the franchise, because that's very heavy in the books. Those little discs are used a lot in the books and have recently been used in Security Breach Ruin. So I think they're trying to push towards these weird discs. So long as they don't get to the sea bonnies or the Phasgoo, I'll be happy. The fans already don't care for these hallucinogen discs because they're basically a get out of writing good story free card. But
I mean,
I'll
when
get
you
to
are
the
when you're already
Phasgoo.
dealing with ghosts, I feel like you can't put hallucinations on top of it. You
Yeah.
gotta pick one.
yeah. But that's just what I think is going to happen because it's the only thing that explains everything and also has precedent from the franchise right now. If that's the direction they're going.
If that is the case, if that is what happened, I do think Taryn could just be right. It could just be adoption at that point.
Yeah.
I think Michael could have been adopted by this family, and because he was a little kid, they never told him he was adopted because you don't want to tell a kid that.
And then their family fell apart because their other kid was taken, so they never got
Yeah.
around to it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and then we get to where we are in the story now.
That's
I
a
think
realistic explanation, but I think it's also a very boring and not movie or FNAF friendly
It's
explanation.
not a very FNAF explanation.
But then we
You are
can have
correct.
the Darth Vader, Michael, I'm your father from William Afton.
You can still have that with the hallucination discs.
You were just talking about how people didn't like the overcomplicated hallucination discs, but you're arguing for
That
them.
doesn't mean they're
Yes.
not canon to the other media.
I think, because if we think about it, if we do the FNAF
But
3 and
also, I'm
4
agreeing with you. The hallucination discs play into the adoption thing. That's what I'm saying.
No, I don't think it should be adoption. I think it should just be his dad, straight up. And
But
he made
then
him
what's
forget.
his other family
But then
then?
who
What
the
is
fuck
that?
took his
He had
brother?
hallucination discs.
All of
then.
his childhood was a hallucination disc?
No, I'm saying he gave him a hallucination disc after he stole his brother and was like, here's your mom and dad. This is what they look like. And he always remembered it like that.
Wait, then how did he steal the brother if it's
Yeah,
his dad?
That was my next
These-
question: is why
these
was he so
discs-
perturbed by his
You guys don't
brother
understand
being
these
stolen
discs
if
are
that was their
God.
dad?
These discs are God. They can
No,
do
William
anything.
Afton's God.
They can do
He always comes
anything
back.
they want in the story. If you read the books, they can do virtually anything.
That's
Maybe.
lazy writing.
Wait,
Exactly.
Maybe Pertuset is right, but he wasn't upset because Garrett was being taken away. Maybe William was abandoning him in the woods.
Maybe.
Or
See,
maybe
I
And
don't
he
so
know the
never had a
that's
fucking
why
brother.
he was panicking.
Yeah, I don't know the what is going to happen. I'm just telling you the how it went down.
It is FNAF, so it could literally be any of these things we have
Be
said so
anything.
I think if they do FNAF 2 movie and it's FNAF 3, 4, we'll figure it out. Just think about it.
I hope
stars
so.
Mike. It stars Mike. He's going through the nightmare of FNAF 4 in the nighttime, or like the dream time, and he slowly begins to remember that his dad is William. Vanessa is presumably dead, or she's gonna get Darth Vader and turn into Vanny, is my
He's
guess.
currently hospitalized.
Yeah, she's gonna come back and become Vanny. That's what I'm think's gonna happen. But then as he's gonna work at the new Fazbear Frights. I think that's the plot, is gonna be like, it's years later, and they're gonna be like, Fazbear Frights, and Mike's gonna be like, no. And so he signs up to work there to break it down, just like in FNAF 3. And so the daytime, or the waking part of the movie is him working there, and then Springtrap gets out. And so the whole daytime, or the waking plot, is him dealing with his dad, not knowing it's his dad. And the dreaming plot, he has plagued by nightmares that reveal that William Afton is his dad, and we see the OG dream. It was a hallucination disc, yada yada. And the in between those parts is filled with explaining the hallucination disc.
And the brother was the bite of 83.
Exactly. Which Taryn said was at the bite of 87 during the movie, and
No,
he
it was
aptly
God, it
punished.
was so
It
funny.
was so
People next to me
funny,
didn't
Jordan, because
think I
no
was
one
funny.
laughed.
No one
That
laughed.
happened to me too.
Good.
And also, Taryn was unsure of whether to commit fully to it or not, so he only set it at like a 5 out of 10 volume level.
Lame.
Yeah.
I
So,
thought
like,
it was funny. It was funny to
Anyone
me.
on our half side of the theater could have heard it, and none of them
Mhm.
laughed.
And apparently, I didn't even notice, but they told me after that the guy sitting next to me tried to talk to me after that, and I just didn't notice at all.
True.
So I just ignored him.
There was a guy-
Taryn completely blew this guy off.
Oh,
He
he's
did
trying to make
what?
friends.
There was a guy right next to Taryn that sat down by himself. We were sitting, there were 4 seats. I like sitting on the sides because then you're almost guaranteed to sit by yourselves, especially with a group of 3.
Uh-huh.
But there are 4 seats over there. A single person came and sat beside Taryn in our 4-seat group. And after Taryn said that line, the guy turned right to Taryn, even moved up his hand and like talked to him.
I didn't notice it at all.
Nothing.
So what you're saying is Taryn got a hit on at the FNAF movie and didn't notice it.
I'm saying someone's tried to speak to him. These are not the same thing.
What I said was funnier.
True. Would be funnier if it was real. But actually, I snuck a hallucination disc on Taryn that made him imagine that person.
Yeah.
Imagine the person he didn't notice.
Exactly. But it's important for the lore later.
Pertuset is William Afton.
I always be dropping back in.
Fortnite.
No, there was a fucking hallucination disc on the guy while we were driving back.
No, we're not there for yet. We're still talking about the FNAF movie.
We're talking about the movie.
Save that discussion for after the episode.
Okay, fine. Sag. It was funny.
It was funny, but that just is not pertinent. The other thing is, why did William put that helmet back on? He did it with such purpose and intention. It was not.
There's got to be a reason. He's got to know something. Like I don't know if it was to fully, because he says I always come back. So I
he did it.
think it's so that he would fully die and fully be in the suit. There's got to be a reason for it, though.
Maybe in order for him to be able to like possess the suit, it has to be complete.
Maybe that's a good theory.
I'm goofy. I forgot about something from the books again.
Oh,
Remnant.
Is that what the spinny worry saw trap thing is?
No.
Is it a remnant heart? No, is it like to harvest remnant?
Probably, actually, yes.
Okay.
In which case, there's a strong chance that William Afton did that so that his remnant would mix with the Springtrap suit, which would cause him to live on in it, just like the kids in the actual suits.
That was kind of my thought, because whenever they were trying to put her in what I'm assuming was the baby 1.0 suit, when they were trying to put Abby in the suit, I was like, oh, that's how it works. You have to die. You have to. Well, I mean, obviously the kids were stuffed in the suits and so they possess it. So they're going to put her in the Springtrap suit. And then when he put the head on, it was like, he probably knows how that works.
Yeah. Remnant, which again, if you go by the games, William Afton was very well aware of Remnant and how to use it and make it and work with it and everything. Which is another whole thing where it gets really complicated. As long as they don't bring in the scooper or sister location.
See, I originally thought that the saw trap thing was the scooper, but then I was like, that's not. Why does it look like it's tearing apart their face? So then I thought it might be something to do with Remnant.
Maybe. In theory, they both are for that, but I don't know.
Right now, only Scott Cawthon and God know.
Yeah, and perhaps maybe the director or writers from the first movie. Maybe.
Nope. Scott kept it completely hidden from everyone.
He would.
Scott and Matt Pat. He told Matt Pat.
Yeah, right. He would never. Are you kidding? They have a rivalry.
He emailed Markiplier since Markiplier wasn't in the movie.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, I know that you're stuck at Iron Lung right now, but I just wanted to let you know this one thing.
Please quit emailing me.
I still think that it's so funny that the entire story of Security Breach had to be changed because Matt Pat guessed all of it correctly by the trailer.
What can I say? He was a theater major.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't think that it should have been changed. I know that it was, and it's like, you can't change it now. I don't think that it should have been changed. I think that makes it a good trailer.
Yes.
That means your trailer was effective at communicating what your game is about.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this trend of like trailers can't reveal anything about the movie and they have to intentionally misdirect the audience.
Oh my god!
No,
subverting expectations is so much more important than doing anything substantial with a plot.
Yes, if your audience knows what your movie is about based on the trailer, congratulations, give your editor a raise.
I think the crowning example of this is the final season of Game of Thrones, where they literally tried to just be like, actually all of the story that we've had for every single character, they just all get subverted and they do not what you thought was going to happen to them. And then everyone hated it and said that it was bad because it was, That's it's stupid. And
There's a
dumb.
difference between predictability and good writing, because your fans being able to put together the pieces of what you've created and figure out your ending does not mean that you need to scrap the entire thing and change it. It means that you did a good job of laying the groundwork and putting out the puzzle pieces, and your fans are intelligent and enjoy your content and have put together the pieces that you laid out for the logical conclusion of your story.
Regardless, like you said earlier, it's done now. It's set in stone.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I'm watching you guys just go on this tangent about a trailer about a game that's not the movie.
So I just have very
But-
strong opinions about trailers in general, because I'm tired of this
I
recent
hate-
trend of like the trailers cannot have anything to do with the movie and will intentionally misdirect audiences, because that's not the point of a fucking trailer.
We're in
No,
the
I hate movie
FNAFosphere right now,
trailers.
Pertuset.
Anything
Anything and everything FNAF gets brought out in the
Good, because I want to
FNAFosphere.
bring out my thoughts on this anyway. I don't want to be the only one that doesn't share their thoughts about trailers. I still think we should go my personal extremist route, which is rather than make a good trailer, have no trailers whatsoever.
I could be down
True.
with that.
That's
Publicly
not how advertising works.
It would be
Advertise
so
another
much
way.
better.
And
my
advertise.
God.
Don't advertise things ever. Don't let
'Cause
people
then
know
you
your
can-
next move.
You can subvert expectations and still make a quality thing because people just don't know what's going to happen in your movie. I hate it whenever trailers have the entire plot of the movie in them.
True.
Because now I have nothing. Why will I go? There's no reason to go at that point. Just tell me
like
the name of the movie and I'll decide if I want to go.
What was the last one? When the last trailer I watched that I thought was really like that. It was it in The Invisible Man? Is that the movie that came out like a few years ago? It was a horror movie
It
about
did, yeah.
a woman who was like, "Oh, he's invisible," and then he actually was.
Yeah.
The entire story pretty much got told in the trailer for that movie.
A
Like,
bunch of them do. A bunch of them tell the entire story in the trailer, and I'm sick of it, including the twists. Some of them try to hide it and obfuscate it. I don't care about that. I just think there shouldn't be trailers, or if they are, like, they got to be a bare minimum. You can't include like a single piece of dialogue in there. Even still.
What if Scott makes Sans real and it's Matt Pat?
Yeah. You
What
see,
are we
my
gonna
main-
do?
Quit talking. My main point for this,
Mm,
TJ and I were talking about a great way that would save the DC universe is apparently there's a very popular secondary Superman from one of the other multiverses that is a black Superman. And I think it'd be amazing if James Gunn didn't announce a single thing like about the movie beforehand, and then it just drops, and it's his story. Because then
That'd
it'd
be
be
cool.
a fresh Superman story, and everyone would go.
Mm-hmm.
But if they did a bunch of marketing beforehand, there'd be no twist. It would not have that cultural impact that it would otherwise. That's my hallmark for my argument.
I can
Mhm.
see that. That could be interesting to do a full like Superman marketing campaign just fully with the logo and iconography
Mhm.
and have it be a different. That'd be cool. That I could see the argument for that.
Exactly. It wouldn't work for all movies to do the no marketing whatsoever, but or no trailer whatsoever.
Since
But-
I think that you can do trailers effectively without it being without it giving your entire story away, and also without misleading audiences. And so the most recent example, the Barbie movie trailer was excellent and getting people excited for the film and giving people like a look at the vibe of it, but you had no idea what the story of the Barbie movie was going to be. There was no indication as to what the actual plot was, but you definitely got like, there's something wrong in Barbie land. She's going to have to go to the real world. But you didn't get any of the like Ken drama. You didn't get any of the other messages of the movie, but you got a good look at the vibe of the film, who was in it, and all of that stuff. And I think that it was a very good example of how you can do that without making a mess of things.
True. Of course, they had it pretty easy because when the name of the movie was Barbie, everyone already knew what it was going to be like. The rest of
know.
the trailer served to show you how hard they committed to how it looked, which was fabulous.
And they committed very hard to the bit, and I'm still very happy
Yes.
about it. But we're not talking about Barbie.
Agreed.
We're talking about FNAF.
Barbie-tastic, if you will. Also, I'll need your source cited on that, Taryn. What they changed the whole plot because Matt Pat guessed it. I know
This
people
was
say
a
that.
confirmed thing. I need to find an actual source
Yeah,
on it, but
please do.
I have
Yeah.
at some point.
Because I don't know about that
Scholarly
one, Shane.
list. I need a
I see.
bibliography.
If we're going to talk about where the most misinformation and disinformation comes from, it's the FNAF community. Hard stop. Because one person
Oh.
will say something once, usually a FNAF YouTuber, and then 50 million people will
It's
begin telling
gospel.
all their friends, and it's been wrong the whole time. Like Dream Theory. But
now it's real. Now it's
it
real.
is real. Oh, crunchy
Oh.
bottle. I didn't think it'd be that crunchy.
I didn't get any crunch.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, it didn't pick it up.
It was crunchy in real life. I'm trying to think what other hanging chads there were from the movie. Obviously, the inclusion of Vanessa was surprising. I do think her next direction is to appear as Vanny,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know how they would include that in a FNAF 3, 4, or a FNAF 2 storyline, because we talked about
Well,
FNAF
what if-
2 is a...
What if they
prequel.
skip over her being in the next one because she's in the hospital, and then like at the end,
That'd be ideal.
We're setting up the whole FNAF trilogy right now, and it's probably not going to go out like this at all. But like,
It might. Scott's
I've had
good.
an idea,
It's
though. I
the-
had an idea. Continue.
it's the 3-4 movie is the second movie, and then at the very end, there's at the very end of the movie after everything happens, William Afton's back now, and he goes and gets Vanessa at the hospital, and that's how it's set up that like she's going to become Vanny, is like William goes and gets her.
Mm. Well, if you do the FNAF 3, 4, FNAF 3 ends with them burning it down and Springtrap supposedly dying. We know he doesn't.
He always
Always
comes back.
Comes back.
So the way it would end is like they do it, and Michael's like, finally, that was 5 nights at Freddy's 3, and credits roll.
I can't believe this was the third time I spent
Yeah.
5 nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. But then we see in Vanessa's hospital, she's there, still recovering, and then she just hears mentally William Afton like, save me, Vanessa. And then her eyes, boom, open.
My God,
Yeah.
don't leave me
Okay,
here.
I have a proposal.
Uh-huh.
So for the second movie, it is the 3 and 4 combination, but a different arrangement of characters. Mike is doing the whole FNAF 3 thing, potentially still has the father connection, whatever, but it's intercut. Vanessa is going through the plot of 4 while stuck in the hospital.
That could work.
So
Oh,
she's the
that's
one,
right.
she's out, and so she's having the nightmares and is going through the
Okay.
nightmare and dream scenarios with all of that stuff from 4.
I raise you a combination. They are both going through it, sort of.
And they meet in the dream.
Yeah, they meet
Yeah,
in the dream.
there we go.
They meet in the dream theory.
And this time we can have Dream be the cameo because of the Dream theory. No, I'm just.
That's what the point of the mask is.
That's why William Afton put the mask on.
He's
That's
the man
point
behind
of
the
mask.
slaughter.
Oh,
Had to
I
be
can't
like
believe
Dream and
Dream was
Unfaced
William
reveal.
Afton.
Yeah,
what's wrong with men's laughter?
true.
Oh, yeah. If they do that though, that will, unless they decide to change paths, that will set them hard on the course of FNAF security breach, which I'd rather they not. It's probably at least my least favorite of all the FNAF stuff.
Could you instead swap out 2 for security breach?
That would just be like a prequel, though, pretty
Maybe.
much.
If you chose the plot, the overarching FNAF like company plot is, there's Bite of 87 shut down,
Mhm.
other location shut down, or FNAF 1 location shut down, dead company, or late 2000s FNAF pizzeria simulator, new organization, mysterious benefactor opens up, then it gets popular again. A different location, however, gets bought out for Fazbear Frights. And FNAF gets super popular again by the same mysterious benefactor from Pizzeria Simulator, and boom, Pizzaplex. If you instead exchange Pizzaplex with the location of 2, that could work.
I was just thinking with the toy robots.
Yeah, just instead of saying Freddy's became so massive, we built a gigantic mall-like structure, and instead we're like, we made brand new robots. They look like toys. I think that'd be better.
You still do Pizzaplex, but you do you don't bring in the...
I don't like the Pizzaplex. I don't like it.
Okay, I thought you were arguing for the keeping
No,
of Pizzaplex.
no,
Okay,
I'm
never mind.
not.
Fuck that.
I hate the Pizzaplex.
Yes, they just build shiny new robots and it's a rebrand.
You know that they say that the Pizzaplex is built in the shape of a pizza slice? With drippy cheese.
It's the Pizzaplex. What do you
What?
expect?
Taryn probably was the architect for the Pizzaplex.
It would be so funny.
That
There
would
you go.
explain how
That's all
they
the proof
hid
I need.
an entire FNAF location underneath without the architect going, that's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, security breach
Oh.
spoilers, I guess. if you're slow on that one. Yeah, I don't want security breach in the
Okay,
movies.
we don't include. Okay, then yeah, we swap out 2 for security breach. There you go.
Which would be great, because then you can also have the Wizards from the first movie in 2, or in the FNAF 2 location, which at this point would be FNAF 3 the movie. Oh gosh, I've gone cross-eyed. So I'm going to say it in one sentence so that way it sounds hilarious out of context. So FNAF 1 is obviously based on FNAF 1, but we propose that FNAF 2 movie should be based on FNAF 3 and 4. So FNAF 2 is FNAF 3 and 4, but the FNAF 3 movie should be FNAF 2.
Yeah.
So FNAF 1 is FNAF 1, FNAF 2 is FNAF 3 and 4, and FNAF 3 is FNAF 2.
Yes.
Third base.
And not security breach.
Not security.
Because I think that'll bring us to ruin.
Where do we put 5?
Isn't Ruin already part of the franchise?
Yeah. I
then
do think they should do security breach. Or not. Sorry. Sister location.
Mhm.
That would be cool. That might be like, I would say do that as a spin-off.
I would agree.
Yeah. But they also need to do FNAF the movie 4 as FNAF World.
How?
FNAF World is not going to be a movie
Yeah.
or a
is it
TV
like,
show.
How
It would
could
be
you
great,
do- I
though.
don't. No, it wouldn't, Taryn.
No.
The
They
best,
make it a funny little animated movie.
the
It'd be so
best
fun.
it could be is if it was a TV show for
like
kids.
a Happy Tree Friends type deal.
Yes. Yes.
Great.
That's the best you could get for it.
We shouldn't have brought Taryn on for this episode.
Thanks.
hard pivot. We've talked about theories for most of this. I think now we need to talk like technical actual movies, because I am so happy about how the animatronics looked and the fact that they are technically Muppets.
I know you are.
Ah!
I know you are, Jordan.
I know. Everybody knows this is all I talked about in regards to this movie until it came out. They looked so good though.
I liked them.
Yeah.
The other two had more mixed opinions on them. I liked
think
them.
that they looked too clean.
I think they looked like they walked out of the game. Sorry, continue.
Same.
Since I saw the trailer, I was not very stoked on it, but I didn't want to poo-poo on your party. But now here we are. I have to because we're recording an episode.
Go ahead. I want to hear the criticism.
I think that because they look like they stepped right out of the game, which is in its own right very impressive and very cool, completely tonally clashed with the film. I think they should have done the withered animatronics from 2.
Okay.
It looked much more frightening because they were not scary at all.
No, they weren't. It was the Foxy was the only one that was a little
That was
unsettling.
mildly, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was because he was in a state of disrepair, like the Wizards would have been.
Mhm. I can see that.
So-
I can see the argument for that. I also think that would have made their plot point of Abby becoming friends with them a little harder.
Exactly.
Because I think that's why Springtrap was slightly more frightening than them, was because he was a little bit more busted.
Yep.
So I think that both would have their merits. I think for an audience perspective, they would have looked better had they been a little bit more shabby. But for their story beats, they kind of had to still look fluffy and cute.
Levi said we should do an in-between between the Wizards and 1.
Mhm.
Not quite so down that they're like the Wizards, but not so fresh as the ones that were in the movie.
Yeah,
I
have
can
some
see
of the fur on them be a little ripped up. Have some like stuffing poking out, some springs every once in a while. Don't have the entire metal. Have some of the metal exposed a little bit more, but have the overall superstructure of the original FNAF 1 there.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
That's
Maybe
all.
they'll do that in the second one.
Oh,
I'm hoping. No, sorry.
I was gonna say if they do the second one, which as we know is 3 and 4,
Yeah.
then it would be the Phantoms and Springtrap.
Well, yeah, but they still might bring in like the actual the actual like suits for some stuff.
Maybe. I'll tell you the one I'm most excited to eventually see on the silver screen is the puppet.
I want to see the puppet.
In any aspect. Also, that'll give us more confirmation about the story because it'll establish whether or not Henry Emily the co-founder of Freddy's, is present in the movie timeline.
Then we can have the FNAF 2 song by the Living Tombstone be the credits
It's
theme.
been so long.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's who Mike Schmidt's related to, is Henry Emily.
That's an idea.
That's what I was kind of thinking of when we were driving back, but I couldn't remember the name because I was I remember I brought up maybe Mike
co-founders.
was related to the co-founders, and that's how William
Maybe.
Afton knew him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I couldn't remember the name, but that's what I was thinking.
Because that would line up, because didn't he kill one of his kids? Afton killed one of Henry Emily's, somebody in his family, right?
He killed Henry Emily's first daughter, Charlotte, which became the puppet.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe it doesn't exactly line up name-wise, but maybe they're going to make the youngest Schmidt brother the puppet.
Maybe. I still think because the youngest Schmidt brother was named Garrett, it's a parallel to the unnamed Afton third child, who everyone calls the crying child, and is presumed to be Gregory from Security Breach. They both start with G's. And while that's a stretch, as MatPat always says, remember the franchise we're talking about here.
True.
They love the small details like similar color and first letters being sent. There's the freaking book that talks about the child in the Pizzaplex that has high scores on everything, whose code name is GGY, Gregory.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Garrett-ry.
Garrett-ry. That sounded worse. I don't know how.
Well, that brings up my other question. There were 5 kids shown. Is one of those kids the fucking cupcake?
Yes,
No.
I think that's what was implied.
I was confused because there was no
Well, who
appearance
else would
of
it have
Golden
been?
Freddy.
Yeah.
Well, that's because there was no Golden Freddy.
There
And
was
so
no
I was like,
Golden
there's
Freddy.
5 kids. Each one of them looked like they corresponded to what, like, Foxy was obvious, Bonnie was obvious. But with the other 3, I'm assuming the one that did most of the talking was Freddy. And I think the little girl was Chica. So does that mean that the other one is the cupcake?
It must be, because the one that did all the talking was
How did
definitely
he
Freddy.
get stuffed in there?
That
I
was
have
my
no idea.
question during the movie. I was like, how do you get a kid in that thing?
Well, I guess there's 2 ways to look at it, because the only reason we assume the one that did the talking is Freddy is because he showed up whenever Abby maybe hallucinated him, maybe
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Without that, there was a kid that had a top hat that was, I presumed, would have been Freddy originally.
That was my first guess,
Yeah.
but then the other kids started talking. And I was like, well, then who the fuck are you?
Yeah. So I don't know. There wasn't much confirmed there.
Because I was surprised that there wasn't really any Golden Freddy mentionings at all. Because I mean, you had the Springtrap mention, but like, no Golden Freddy.
Closest thing was in the sign. There was a thing that said "It's me."
Yeah, I saw that. Well, with the writing on the mirror.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That is one thing I was sad that wasn't in the movie was the I don't remember the name of the song, but the Freddy music.
The Toreador march.
Yeah.
Dum, bum, ba-dum,
I'm not gonna lie, I
ba-dum.
started humming it to myself whenever the Springtrap thing happened.
Really? Mm-hmm.
Because I thought it was funny.
I'm amazed they didn't include that, but they did include the Foxy dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that one Foxy jump scare scene. I wish he would have actually moved down the hall running at the guy instead of
I
suddenly
did
like
too.
Because that's what
teleporting.
Foxy's scary.
Yeah, you
I
can't
really
stop
wanted to
him.
see Foxy running. It would have been so funny.
For you at home that wanted to see that, there's a really good FNAF VHS analog horror series that has a Foxy animatronic chasing someone in a mall for an extended scene, and it's terrifying. Guns don't work on him.
Foxy is my the one that scares me the most out of all the animatronics. Just
Which is why it's funny you got
because of the
killed by him.
speed. It's
Yeah.
it's the running that gets me for Foxy. It's
terrifying.
the speed. Have any of you, this is kind of pivoting a little bit away from the movie, but it's still FNAF. Have you seen the new fan game that came out, FNAF Plus?
No.
Yes, that's from the
Someone's-
Fazbear Initiative.
Yeah, someone's remaking all of them, but like to just like they're still the exact same
FNAF
mechanics,
Universe.
but they just look better and they're more scary. I was watching someone play FNAF 1 today. Oh my god, they're so scary. Foxy slams on the door when he runs down the hallway.
Mhm.
If you have the door there, he like pounds on it
Oh,
and makes
Yeah.
noise. It's terrifying.
I didn't
was
know
really-
it was out yet. I thought it was still in development.
It
I
might have
think
been
it
because the
still
person
is.
I was watching, they might have like gotten it early to promote it. That might have been what it was.
Yeah, I know in that
Um,
same project, the guy that made Joy of Creation is remaking all of his games.
Yes,
as
it's
well.
part of the Fanverse initiative that Scott is personally funding fan games so they can make whatever they dream of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was there.
That's the one I've been most excited for is FNAF Plus because it looks so freaking good.
If it's out by next year, we should do that. We should remake the race, but just with Plus.
I don't
Yeah.
want that. I'm gonna be scared. Make Jordan do it.
After we get out of here,
that's gonna
I'll send the video in like the Discord
Please,
so
I
you
wanna
guys
see
can
that.
see it. It's scary, man.
Doo-doo the FNAF 2 is 3 and 4. And yes, I said doo-doo. I want them to sort of touch up the Springtrap design from FNAF 3, the game.
Yeah.
It was not perfect, I don't think.
That's just all of FNAF 3.
Well, FNAF 3 is pretty alright. The Phantom things are pretty good, and it would line up more because it would be like we said earlier, Michael's brain's tweaking because the Phantoms are not real. They just jump scare you and they're a hallucination, which would add up to the hallucination discs.
Did I jump scare you?
But Springtrap, well, I don't know. His design was good, but I think it needs to be better for the movie. I don't think it should be a 1-to-1. Needs to be a bit more gritty.
I think it was mainly because it was an actual suit that he had to wear, so it had to like fit Matthew Lillard's proportions. But now that he's in there, they can probably touch it up a little bit more for
they can
future
mess with it.
movies.
It'll definitely decay a lot more.
I
Yeah.
did love like when he was falling down and the lights kind of obscured and you could just see the eyes glowing. That was a cool shot.
His eyes
That
are the
was
best.
really cool.
Two things I love about the Springtrap design are the eyes and the fact that you can see the decayed body underneath it
Mhm.
barely.
Yeah.
Bits of the rotten flesh and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that wasn't okay. He wasn't touched up. He's just 6'4". Matthew Lillard's just 6'4"
No, he's
in real life. I was
Yeah.
wondering when we watched that scene because I was like, "Oh my!"
He did look really
God,
tall.
No, he's
tall.
a big dude. That's the thing. I was like, I wonder if they added any height or if that's just him because he's a tall
He
guy.
might also have the ears, so the ears probably made him look even bigger
Well,
as
and
well.
they
But
were-
yeah, no, I just looked it up because I was like, he's pretty big in that scene.
Well, and there were
6'4".
shots where they were shooting him from a lower angle to make him look more imposing. So it worked. He looked
Mhm.
scary.
The
I
scene
love
of
that
him
they-
walking in.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Well, and I love that they included the Scream reference in there
yeah, the Scream reference was good.
Mm.
with the knife. That made me happy. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was cool.
I remember the very first time, I forget exactly what it was. There was a moment, it was like the first time the animatronics, they turned to look at something. It might have been during the break-in. And it was really funny because it made the FNAF 1 ambiance sound, the boing.
Mhm.
I forget exactly when that even plays.
I was
remember
telling
you
Taryn
pointed
I
that out
love
when
the
it
sound
happened.
design.
Oh, it's when you flash the lights and see an animatronic outside your door, that sound effect. Boing!
No, they did a
played
really
that.
good job of including like in-game sound effects in a way that wasn't too cheesy. Like I love that they
Yeah.
did the Foxy scream during that jump scare. That was cool.
Mhm.
And a lot of the animatronic noises sounded like they were pulled straight from the game, but not in a like overt look what we're doing way. I think it worked.
Yes.
Yeah,
Going more on the technical stuff, I think the story was ironclad, nearly perfect.
See, that's where we're gonna have disagreements. I thought they had some
What?
pacing issues.
What? Well, you think
no.
everything has pacing issues.
I thought. No, I think that there were some things that were a little bit too long and some things that probably needed to be saved for maybe the second movie and some things that were maybe just a little bit unnecessary.
There are two
I-
moments that I didn't quite care for, that I agree with on that. The silly, cutesy kid Abby playing with the animatronics night, that I did not like at all. And the other one was the conversation between Vanessa and Mike by the stream. That went
was
on for too long.
Yeah, that was my big thing. Was I thought that conversation was wholly unnecessary and really didn't tell anybody anything. It didn't move the story along or provide any information. I agree that the fort building scene was a little bit too long, but I did like it because I like that they made the animatronics act like kids.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
It was too long.
It was too long. I will agree with that, but I think that it was I think that it was a good touch to put in like the moments of her playing with them so that you also had the like very stark difference of the animatronics being kids and the animatronics being influenced by Springtrap.
Yeah.
And also that scene had the implication that they were all lying in a pile of rotting corpses.
Yeah.
I think there could have been a better way to do their kids than the whole scene about that.
Oh, there definitely could have been, but I like the direction that they were going with it.
Yeah. I'm not in the writing room. I'm not paid enough to think about an alternative.
I still also thought that the aunt's character was just kind of
insanely important. I went over this with Taryn.
Important, but it was more there. It was more there for convenience of moving the plot forward than she was an actual character.
Well,
which I prefer. Would you rather have gotten to know our aunt really well, so she like took up 20 more minutes of screen time?
Yeah, kind of.
You're weird.
I feel like that's kind of a horror thriller expected thing. You kind of have to have a like, this is why we're putting ourselves in this situation that could be dangerous. There are stakes, and then you never have to hear from her again, which we did, but
yeah, I just didn't like it very much. So,
well, maybe they'll make a book about the aunt just for you then, because
Well,
I understood she was merely a plot device.
She was a plot device. Well, I think that goes to my complaint about not really including more with the not complaint, but my confusion with not including more with the parents other than just being in a flashback. I feel like the aunt would have felt like more like a character and more important as a person had maybe the rest of the family been a little bit more important other than just the kid. I don't know. But I also don't, with the already existing pacing issues, I don't know that there would have been a place for that.
There are a few issues with that. There's that, and there's also the fact that we don't know the lore that's going on with Michael's dad.
Yeah.
Who may be William Afton, so they couldn't do more with the family because it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
If they did it. Or it could not have made sense in the future. It would have required a retcon if they did more with the aunt. But I think it was perfectly well done because everything happened in a way that gave the reason for the plot without being a plot hole, which in modern horror movies, every single scene has 50 single plot holes or more. And this one had very few to none, which I give huge props to. Because the babysitter was exactly evil, and we gave an explanation as to why she was doing things pro bono. She was kicked out or gotten rid of at a perfect time, so that way Abby had to come along and meet the animatronics, which was perfect time. Everything was done in a perfect order that gave the exact thing that was needed at the exact time, which I liked.
I will give you the story is airtight. I just would have shifted some things around, not like chronologically and event sequence wise, just like the speeding up of things happening. I don't know. There were just some things that I felt took too long, or it took too long to build up to them. I think that the big thing that I had with pacing was I agree with you with the talking at the lake scene or the creek or whatever. Yeah. That kind of just put a big pause in the middle of the movie that wasn't necessary, and that might be the root of a lot of my problems with the pacing.
Yeah. I almost feel like they did that with the intent of setting up Vanessa as being a major player, which I mean, she was by the end of that movie, but I mean like a major player, like future protagonist. Because otherwise it was like, why he be talking to this lady?
Why does she care that much?
She is also in the hospital right now, which is also where FNAF 4 is supposed to take place.
If you believe in Green theory.
I made this point already.
Okay, I didn't hear it then. Sorry.
No, that's why I said that she should be the one, if we do the 3 and 4 combination for 2, that she should be the one to be playing through 4 with with this splash of Mike.
Yeah.
The one thing I wish we would have had more of, but there was not really much time to do more of, was I wish we had more of a traditional FNAF 1 experience scene. Like we had the guard who was freaked out at the very beginning as a little intro, I would have liked it
The office
more
Yeah.
if there was a scene where he was actually having to like defend the office for a little bit. Just a little bit longer. Like give me 5 to 10 minutes of him defending the office and before he meets his demise. Maybe 3 to 5.
And the
Oh,
lights should have gone out. I really wish that
could
they
have
would
been
have
the
started
perfect place
with
to put the Freddy thing in.
Yes,
he
I
could
was
have run
hoping
out
that
of
they
power.
would do the run out of power, and then Freddy's eyes flicker on, and it does the
Yeah.
song, and then he bites it.
Yeah, that would have been nicer. But they really, really went on the Foxy's scary. Not really Freddy.
Because Foxy was the only one that was scary.
See? Freddy. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on the movie.
Yeah, no.
I still keep thinking about the animatronics because they look so cool and they're Muppets.
I mean, I guess.
I know your complaints, but they looked so good. Like outside of the movie, craftsmanship wise, they looked fucking cool.
That's true. I could see the fur on their body.
It was so cool, and they were all practical.
I could tell when that one scene when Bonnie fell down, which was really goofy.
Oh, it was so funny.
Also,
Phasmobile.
true. Oh. Watching Scott make Corey X. Kenshin a key character because he's the only person that witnessed Freddy in the taxi making it not a hallucination. And the balloon boy get in the taxi.
Oh my
By
god,
the
I
way-
love the balloon boy jump scares.
That was a funny bit, I won't lie. That was some fan service,
That
but I
was
didn't
really
mind it.
funny.
Tiny.
Every time it happened, I pointed at Pertuset and went, "You."
Every time Foxy jump scared or killed somebody, I went to Levi. I was like, "It's you."
Yeah,
You also got by Foxy.
Not that Foxy.
but it was
Not that
because
one.
of Balloon Boy that he
It
got.
It was
got
because
by
of Balloon
Foxy.
Boy. But no, that I enjoyed the Balloon Boy jump scares. That was a really funny bit.
Mhm.
But is he alive? Because he was in multiple places.
I'm assuming he was a toy model that maybe the ghosts were moving.
No, I think you're thinking too much. I think it's just a funny joke.
I like
don't
to think
know.
he just. I like to think that that's just like a thing that's not like connected to FNAF at all. It's just a thing that happens in this universe that the movie takes place in. There's just Balloon Boy statues randomly apparate anywhere at any time.
My other
True.
thought was maybe he was a prize at the prize counter and they just had extras lying around, so they had them around the building.
That makes
Maybe
sense.
for that
Who would
exact
pick that
purpose
up
to
for a
like.
prize?
Well, that's why they had so many of them. That
deranged
they
child would have to want to get. Listen, I will never understand why they gave Chica teeth. Like it's things like that. There's certain design choices with the FNAF things that I'm like, no
Ducks have teeth?
no child in their right mind would. Okay, but they didn't have to give the animatronic giant human teeth. They could have
Ducks
just
have
given
teeth.
her a beak, Jordan. Are you telling me you think that a child would like a duck to have teeth more than it just having a beak?
How else is it going to eat children?
True.
It has metal teeth on the inside that the exoskeleton uses. I'm just trying to point out that I don't like the Chica teeth, and just because ducks have teeth in real life is not going to change my opinion. I also don't like that ducks have teeth in real life. So
How else is Chica gonna chew up children and like regurgitate back to the cupcake like a mama bird?
I don't know, maybe
What?
because she's made out of metal.
It was done purely for this reason, to agitate and perhaps frighten you by its ungodly nature.
Yep. Yep.
But
It is working.
In the words of Hideo Kojima on Twitter, the chicken was hot.
What?
He did say this.
He did say
Okay.
that.
All right. Thanks, Kojima.
Still not buying Death Stranding.
I'm gonna have to have at least 2 tweets about how Chica was hot to get Death Stranding.
I'm gonna need one about Toilet Bonnie, personally.
True.
I can't wait
So
for Toilet
true.
Bonnie.
It's gonna be so funny.
If we do Toilet Bonnie, that means we're not gonna see it until FNAF 3, which, as we established earlier, is FNAF 2. But I just really want Toilet Bonnie.
Go
What
buy
if
one.
in the second movie they do a Easter egg, and like there's a scene where they go into the bathroom.
No, because then
And
that'll
all
ruin
of the
FNAF
toilets,
3.
all of the toilets are themed to look like the characters of one's
That's
Bonnie.
horrifying, and I hate it.
Oh, but you don't hate Chica looking like that with teeth.
Does that mean that the Chica toilet would have teeth?
Yes.
The Bonnie toilet will not have teeth because it's a toilet Bonnie.
Exactly.
Actually, I can't remember if he still has teeth or not.
It has
I'm pretty
teeth.
sure he's gone.
It
Does he?
has teeth, yes. The bottom jaw has teeth.
I thought it might. Yeah, it do.
Mhm.
So it'll still have teeth.
They all have teeth.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most
We all have
unpleasant
teeth
bathroom
down here.
experience.
I'll tell you though, I ain't peeing in Foxy's mouth because that thing is sharp. It's got some snappers on there.
Emote
It's
like
like
that
it-
when you said sharp.
It's like the urinals that just have the hole, the like tiny hole at the front.
Yeah, that's the best it would be.
Yeah.
This is a cursed conversation.
Yeah.
Truly is.
Just like the location of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yo.
Did we account for all the games in movie form? I guess not Ultimate Custom Night. I will watch that movie all day. FNAF Ultimate Custom Night on 50/20 mode. It's
There
just
you go.
every 2 seconds is a new jump scare. It's just for a whole movie runtime.
Them doing
It's just them playing. It's just Markiplier's like first episode of it. That's the entire movie. It's just,
doing an edit of the FNAF 1 movie that is just 520 mode.
But yeah, that's what we think about FNAF. The
Mhm.
FNAF movie that just came out.
Yep. Do you
If
guys
you're
think their
still-
teeth kind of look like Kane from the Amazing Digital Circus?
If you're oh yeah, you wanted to
Haven't
talk
seen
about
it.
that very briefly, didn't you?
I just
Haven't
did.
seen it.
I
That's
like
it,
Pomni.
in the episode.
Hey, we hope you enjoyed the episode you just listened to. If you really like our content, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on YouTube, and look for us on Spotify. If you'd like to see us continuing to do more fun projects in the future, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can find our page linked in the description above all of our other social media links. And finally, if you'd like to keep up with the zany shenanigans of our lives and check out some more skit-based content and things like that, check us out on Twitter and TikTok, links in the description. And hey, thanks!